Nice. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy, the Middle-Aged Gamer, and this is the TTi TP22 Competition review. Now, I've been after a really cool looking sci-fi blaster. I saw the AAP01 at the time, but it was always sold out, and it was like 75, 85 pounds and completely sold out everywhere. So I kind of like went, you know what, I'm going to let other people be the beta tester on that one, and I'll come round to it later on. Then the company at TTi, who originally invented the Action Army AAP01 and did that for them, came out with their own, pistol. And they based it off the Torus TX22 Competition. Now, that in its own right is widely acclaimed from everyone in the real steel as a really, really good, one of the best 22 long rifle caliber, pistols on the market. It's affordable, it gives you really good accuracy, you've got all the cool modern features, and you can plink around in your range or what have you all day long with inexpensive ammo. Because as we all know, 9mm 45 ACP has been getting expensive. It's coming down a lot, but it's still expensive, especially if you're going to be using your 9mm as a concealed carry and with expensive Gucci ammo for that, for actual concealed carry purposes. So running a 22 LR is perfectly fine. Now, in Airsoft, that does not matter. It all fires 6mm BBs. And if you can bring that performance that you would get with the 22 LR into Airsoft, that's great. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at the gun and let's go over it and find out. So we'll take it off its stand here. Okay, so we'll do what we always do and start with the magazines. Now, I can confirm this is compatible with VSC magazines. I own one here, this being the original. We'll go over that first before I show you the VSC. On this, you have something that VSC do a lot now with their guns and put the fill valve up at the top here out the way, so when it's in the gun, you can't see it. So it's good for movie making. You want to use this as a sci-fi blaster, go right ahead. Okay, at the base plate, there is a hole there, but it's filled in with a hex screw. Now, what you can do is unscrew that and put yourself a HPA tap. So they really thought about everyone, right? Talk about inclusive. It's a 22 mag, just like the VSC. Now, if we put them side by side, you will see they are virtually identical, other than the base plate, because this is a Gen 5. They are identical. Flip them to the side. You can see all the excess material here. They virtually are. Apart from the fill valve, they are the same thing. You know? That is awesome. Outstanding. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. And at least having this up here, you don't have to take the base plate off to fill it, or undo the base plate, fill it, and then click it back, which is annoying. So, that's cool. But here's the VSC one. You can see with the official Glock markings. Put it in the gun, just to get that out the way. Fires, locks, fine. Okay, guys? So, yeah. Now, moving up to the grip itself. The grip itself is nice. It's a full-size grip, not a compact gun. This is equivalent to a Glock 17 or a little bit bigger than a Glock 17, so that's really good. It's a nice feeling grip. It's smooth, but got enough texture to grip with bare hands. And if you've got gloves, it really does grip well. You do have this little notch here, which naturally guides your middle fingers into place to hold, okay? This also has that beaver tail, which does allow you to get a higher purchase, so you really do mitigate recoil. Even though 22 LR doesn't have recoil in the real steel, in Airsoft, there is a bit of recoil from that, and it does actually mitigate that. And you get that nice, deep, high purchase on the gun, giving you a perfect feel, okay? Now, moving up, you've got your magazine release. It's ambidextrous. You can flick it to either side. If you are going to use it on the left side, please make sure you use Gen 5 mags or any of the mags that have the 2 notches cut out when it comes down to it. So if you only have the older Glock, Gen 3 style, where you only have 1 notch cut on that, you can run them in this when it's in the right-hand configuration. But if you're trying to run it lefty, you won't be able to because it won't catch. Okay? Now, the trigger guard itself is lovely. It's nicely ergonomic. Like I say, it's sculpted right to your hand. It doesn't dig into your skin. It doesn't do anything nasty to you as you're riding a high perch, just nicely tucked up there. It does have a nice scalloping cut on the trigger guard here for your lights and lasers. They do fit really well. So let's talk about that trigger itself. Now, if I prime the gun, you've got a nice long take up till you get to the wall. The wall is there. It's solid. It's firm. You can feel it. Doesn't take much to go past it, but you can feel it and hold it there. It's about 1.5 millimeter travel to go past it. You hear the click. Let's cycle it. Nice positive tactile 2 millimeter reset. Very short reset. Very tactile. And if you spend a couple of mags with this gun, you're going to run this like it's a machine gun. It's absolutely great trigger for that. But it's not the best on the market, but it's not the worst, as I said. These scallop out parts here are really good. I can rest my finger in there nicely and keep my finger off the trigger. They're easy, feel comfortable. It's quite nice. These are your takedown levers. We'll get to them when we take the gun apart. At the front, you do have a 1913 style of rail segments here at the front. It fits 1913 accessories really well. So definitely cool. I like that they've gone that route. I do love the markings there, read owner's manual before use, and your TP here on the top. At the muzzle, it does feature, if I can undo that, a 14mm counterclockwise thread. Now, because this barrel is non-reciprocating, non-moving, completely fixed in place, it's the slide that moves around it. It means you can fit your tracer unit on there, and you're not having to, cut material away from the slide to allow it to cycle without grinding on your barrel or anything. There's a lovely gap all the way around, and it stays fixed. As you can see there with the inner barrel as well, it's fit flush with the outer barrel completely, which is really nice. There's zero movement. I really do love what they've done with that. So yeah, I do love here on the barrel as well the scalloped out cuts. That's quite nice. Lightens everything down, as much lightening as they can. That's why you have the Beretta style here, so that you can fix the optic to the barrel and hot chamber rather than putting it on the slide and having a slide runner, as they call it, and having it mounted here, which doing that basically throws you zero. Over time, you will lose zero pretty much most of the time, especially with these high blowback, really hard kicking guns now. So yeah, it's a lot better having it fixed there. Second, it also makes the slide more efficient because you've cut down the weight. So you don't need to worry about excessive heavy slides. You get better efficiency. You can go through 2 full mags of BBs, no problems. Or more now. Now, as you can see, you do have your hot wheel there to adjust. Your rear sights are red fiber. Your front one, as you can see, is a green fiber optic front sight. They are Glock sights, so you can fit them with any standard Glock, airsoft Glock style sight mounts. You could even take this out and put a mounting plate on the top. So it's up to you. Now, you do have your slide stop release. This is a steel one. So, yep, come out the box as that. And you do have your ambidextrous safety here, which is just up for safe, down for fire. Your fun switch here, down for semi-auto, up for full auto. It's entirely up to you how you wish to run it. At the rear, there's a little hole there in the back. That's for you to attach any of your normal Glock accessories that require attaching to the base plate, or your charging handles, etc. So if you want a Nerf style, you can, or if you've got disabilities with your hand, you can get the extended ones that come out to the side and use that to charge. That's really cool. I like that they're all inclusive with this gun out of the box. As for other markings, you've got Caliber 6mm BB at the top, which is okay, and you've got your Made in Taiwan here, TP mirrored on this side. That's about it for markings, apart from here at the bottom, you've got your unique serial number, and you've got your QR code there. But as you can see, it's quite nice. You do have a lanyard loop here at the bottom, but if you're putting in a flared mag well on, you'll be removing that. To do that, it's just unscrew here, takes that out. You put your flared mag well on from an AAP01, it'll fit. Screw it all back together and away you go. So yeah, it's really, really nice. I do like it. Let's see if we can show you what it looks like with the dot. As you can see, easier to have, and having the slide move around keeps the dot in the middle and allows you to keep yourself on target, which is a lot more efficient, as you would say, as a shooter. So Speedsofters are really, really gonna love this gun. You're gonna be rocking it quite good. So that's kind of cool. Put a cover on that. And yeah, so let's load up some BBs and let's take it outside and see what you can do. Okay, I'm using green gas and 0.25 gram BBs. Okay, so what's that giving us an average? An average of 294 FPS with 0.25 gram BBs. That's awesome. Okay, so let's take it back to about 10 meters and let's see what the accuracy is like on this. Let's get a grouping. Okay, apart from that one, which I pulled, there's your kind of group. And even if you include that, that's still a very good group. Okay, so now let's do the Texas Star. Let's see how good they are. Reminder that those plates are only 2 inches across, so they're very tiny. So let's step it back again and let's see what we can do. Well, that was fun for a twofer at the beginning, and we still have plenty of BBs left. Wow. Okay guys, so what do you think to the accuracy test and that? She's bloody good, isn't she? Very fast. Definitely an absolute beast. So, move the stand out of the way. Disassembly of this thing is quite easy. All we need to do is drop the slide, remove the mag, it is empty. We can double check the sound. Nope, nothing in there. Pull the trigger, pull down on the tabs, push forward. Let go, and it pushes off your slide. Okay, slide's easy to disassemble. Just pull out your takedown spring, push forward on the barrel, and slide it out through the top. So let's start with the lower, shall we? As you can see, this is a proprietary system from TTi. It's got a lot incompatible with, in actual common with the AAP01 because they designed it, but they also made a lot of improvements on that design. So yeah, that's really, really good. Now, this is all cast zinc for the internals, except for the pins and all the springs and so on. They're steel, but the rest are all cast zinc. Can be an issue to some, but generally it's fine. I've put well over 1,000 rounds through this and it has just been absolutely amazing. Now, apart from the funky takedown, it's kind of cool. There are a lot of differences. So why don't we get my Glock 45, which is a Glock 17 internals anyway. Let's compare the two. So holding them side by side. If I pop the hammer. Now straight away you can see that VFC use a claw hammer style, whereas these went with the Marui style with a rolled hammer, which is a lot better. So you can easily set the hammers like so. But you have to, there you go. Forgot you. There you go. Release the trigger. Click that back. There's your sear. We still have the sear engagement there in the same place. But on here, to get the hammer ready to go, you got a little sear there on the top that preps the actual trigger and everything ready to fire. Otherwise, you'd have a dead trigger. But yeah, it's Quite a nice system. It gets out the way, and with the roller on the top, it allows the actual slide to move forward and back a lot more smoother. This has to get out the way completely and uses the claw to help push the hammer down, which is quite good. The downside I've had with traditional internal Glocks assemblies like this is this little bloody pin here. It is an absolute nightmare. I say pin, screw. On the Red Wolf Agency Arms one, that's supposed to have a Timberwolf frame, it was cheap plastic. So that screw basically destroyed the screw housing at the bottom, which is plastic, just totally ate it apart over 500-600 rounds. And at the end, that came out, this lifted up and absolutely destroyed the internals of the slide. It was just really bad. I wouldn't like it, keep jamming on it. It was just nightmare. And the only way to repair it would be to swap out the lower frame at that point. It was a lot of issues, as you would say. So no, do not like it. Hate that option unless you got a really good quality. Now, VFC themselves, with their Glock guns, because of the license and that, they really do put a lot of effort. This is a proper nylon glass fiber lower, polymer lower, which is really good. It's very rigid and will actually hold. They've learnt their lesson. So that's really good. But as you can see, the linkage arms are very similar, using a similar style. Obviously, this one looks way more beefed up than the standard Glock one. As you can see there, you can see the one on the left. So you've got more actual material. And that's great because them using cast zinc parts allows them to give you more material, which is going to be rigid as steel would be anyway, especially for airsoft, and give you all that. But you do have your over travel on the left here, which is the same. It does look the same for your slide stop and all that stuff. It's really cool. But again, another key feature, if I stay with the Glock for now, here is your inner and outer barrel and hop chamber assembly, as we all see it. Okay. Now, one thing you notice with these, how they fit together, is pretty much, if I slide you down, kind of like that. Now, when that's in, it's rattling around. Okay. It's not completely rigid as much. They have improved the lockup on that with the cut, but over time, that cut widens and you get a lot of side-to-side play. You get a lot of wiggle and wobble, right? It's not, how can I say this, fun for people to have, okay? It's not a good system, really, but it is common, especially if you have a Browning action pistol. That's generally how they do it. With this, though, if I get the hop chamber for now, what they did is put it where you push down and lock in. You now have 4 points of lock and 0 wobble, 0 play, absolutely rigid. And that's great, meaning that you basically, unless it's your hand shaking, any deviation is going to be down to you, not the gun itself, which is awesome. So 4 points of lock is just a lot better than 2. We'll stick with the barrel. The barrel itself is, like I say, decent aluminum barrel. It's nice. You do have, like I say, your thread here on the end. I do like the fluting part here, which is quite nice. And as you can see, you got a nice long chamber here on the back. Because this is a TDC, you have your dial here on the top. Adjust that. It's got plus and minus on either side, so you just turn it. It adds and, how to say, removes pressure as you go, which is kind of cool and works and keeps and holds. And you don't have to take the whole thing apart to adjust it. You can just adjust that wheel. Okay, so it's a really good TDC hot and a good lockup. The barrel itself, the inner barrel, is proprietary. The booking is Marui spec, but the actual inner barrel is a proprietary inner barrel. Now, like I say, companies out there are already starting to make parts. The big one for Asia is Unicorn. They are basically the equivalent of Maple Leaf in the West. They do really high-end competition-grade bookings that last and are more durable, so check them out. They also now make the inner barrels for this as well, so again, check them out. They're about £8, which are really cheap for an inner barrel, so that's not bad. So yeah, there are parts. You just have to bear that in mind. The slide itself is aluminum slide. It's very, very rigid. You can't bend or flex it. You do have a screw here at the front you can access through this hole to take the front sight off. And you do have one here at the rear. There is a steel insert here, though, for your slide stop, where your steel slide catch will grab. so you don't damage anything. And it does have a standard spec 15mm Marui large bore piston head on there, and the cylinder itself to match. Although it is specially designed by them, you can still get parts out there. There's a lot of parts available. The company didn't just release the gun and never release the upgrade parts for it. There are out there now. Okay, so that's really cool. Okay, reassembly of the slide is quite simple. You can just put that in like that, flip it back over. We take our captive spring and guide rod, pop it in, and it literally just catches under the lip. There's a little lip that it'll fit on, no problem. We take our lower. Yes, we do have to have the hammer down. Okay, once you've done that, line it up till it drops on, push down like that, lock it to the rear, and away you go. You have it all set. So, yeah, there she is, guys. There is the TTi TP Competition, and it is an absolute amazing piece of kit. I do love the, I would say, upgraded internals already out the box. The TDC hot, fantastic. I do love the large bore piston and cylinder, brilliant. It does give you a nice satisfying recoil impulse, but not too much. I love the magazine compatibility with VFC stuff, brilliant. You know, there's so many good positives, and over time there's going to be more upgrade parts, more availability, so that's going to be awesome. This being only released in Asia at the moment means that by the time we get it at the end of the year, it should start showing up soon, between now and the end of the year, I would actually say. You'll start seeing the gun come and a lot of parts. They do, like I said before, you can get Nerf charging handles that screw onto the back. Flared magwells are already out there. There are just so many upgrade parts available for you that it's going to make it fun, and you can make it your own. It's a great looking blaster. It's got speed softening in mind as well as competition shooting. And as a sidearm of choice, if you want to run a sidearm for a primary, this is amazing. Having that RMR with very little movement, you're not having to reacquire the red dot every time the side, moves, because when you have what we call a slide rider optic, it just shakes and rattles, and that also basically causes it to lose zero. So over a course of a game, you could actually find that you're a few millimeters or a few centimeters off target. That will affect your gameplay. So this is really cool. Yeah, you've got a Glock 18 fun switch on there, which is, like I say, it's fun for getting those that don't call the hits and are being just absolute, one of those. But generally, it's really cool. So yeah, you can run any of your mags that you've got. Generally, a wide compatibility of magazines straight out the box with no modification. That's fantastic. A lot of people own VFC Glocks, so you're going to have a lot of mags already for the gun. Or you own WE Glocks, so you've already got mags for the gun, So that's really good. Or if you have an AAP-01 and you want a cool race pistol like this, then you've already got mags for it. So, again, it's just a win-win. But those are my thoughts. I would love to know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. As always, I've been the Middle Aged Gamer. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I will see you in the next one.